Hello, everybody. Tonight, thanks for joining us. Tonight, we have John Petit. And to introduce John, we have OJ here. Go ahead, John. OJ.
Hello, guys. Good evening for the masters and guests. Tonight, I am super excited. I don't know about you. I'm excited to have this gentleman among us. He has trained thousands of people since the 1990s. He joined My Econ in 2005. Currently, he hosts corporate webinars on Saturdays from 10 a.m. to 1 p.m., if I'm not mistaken. So please take advantage of that, all right? A couple things that I found out about him that we have in common, John, is that I heard through the grapevine that you like Kill Bill, the movie Kill Bill.
I do.
Also, the Ozarks.
Yeah, baby.
Yeah, that's a really good series. I also believe that your dad was a minister.
No, my dad wasn't. He was a jazz pianist.
Oh, okay. All right. So someone in your family was serving in the army, I think, right?
Yes, my dad.
Okay, your dad. Okay, well, just like my dad and I, we served in the army, so we have that in common. But the most coolest thing about it is that we were both born in September 17.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I mean, after we are handsome guys, right?
Yeah, in the world.
Virgo's here. All right. So it's an honor, guys, for me to present to you from Motown City, Detroit, the one and only. I heard they call you Chocolate Thunder.
Oh my
Mr. John Pettiford.
Wow. I don't know who your information source is.
I have good sources, man.
I see. You know, I'm going to have to lock this stuff down a little bit.
I know people.
But I do, number one, appreciate you guys allowing me to get on here today and just talk a little bit about our business. I got some things that I think are important. And, you know, so first of all, I want to say, you know, when you show up, okay, and I think everybody that has gotten on this webinar here has shown up, number one. I think you beat 95% of the people in this country because most people never show up. They never make a decision to win in their lives. You know, they complain, they talk about things, but they never do anything, you know. So I say congratulations and my hat's off to all of you doers out there, not just talkers. And yes, that is true. I have been in my econ and in business. I started in business about 20 years ago. For the first time in this industry, and I didn't understand anything about networking or anything. And I was born on the west side of Detroit. I didn't come from an affluent family, and we didn't know very much about money. But I was bitten by the entrepreneurial bug. I wanted more out of life. I had a daughter at that time. She was about maybe 18, 19 months old, and I wanted to make more money for her and be a better father. So I started looking at other things I could do. Got involved in this industry and I fell flat on my face like many people do when they join these type of businesses, because if you don't have a good mentor, if you don't have someone who you can work with and learn from, you know, you got to go on trial and error, and you can, you know, stumble and have a little failure there. And sometimes you get frustrated and quit. Okay. But I never got frustrated. I just kept on kind of working through the thing there. And I met my mentor, Mr. Alvin Curry, one of the co-founders of this company. And he started working with me, and I've spent hours with him, and I started to change my life. And at 34 years old, I fired my boss, and I haven't worked a job in over 12 years now. So I would say, you know, you're in the right place at the right time with our particular company. And, you know, when you look at where we are today as a company and the pandemic and people that, you know, they say over 30 million people have filed for unemployment in the last 6 weeks. Well, that's a lot of folks. And they're saying unemployment could reach as much as 15 to 20% in this country. And I don't think the government has an answer for that. Okay. They're sending $1,200 checks to dead people right now. Okay. I don't need any more money. And, you know, I filled out for that little PPP thing for small business owners. They sent me some free money Because I'm just like this. If they're going to send free money, I'll take it. So I took the money. And so I know that they don't really understand, because the people that are making all the rules in Washington, they've never had to live and go to the, well, I would say not in recent times. They don't go to the grocery store. They don't understand. If you ask them how much a gallon of milk costs, they probably couldn't tell you. So they don't really know what the average person is doing out here living day to day. And I think that's very important, because many times we think, well, the government is going to come and help us and save us and bail us out, but they're really not. And then when you look at our jobs, I'm reading that about 25% of the people that have gotten let go, they're not going to go back to work. So corporations are not going to bring these people back. So corporations are always trying to figure out how do they, what you call, trim the fat. And that's going to be the expenses on the balance sheet. And a lot of times that falls on the employee. And we have to fix our economies. That's why we call this company My Econ. It's short for My Economy. So what we're going to do is talk about how do we build our economies here with My Econ. And I'm going to talk a little bit about some mentality stuff. I'm going to cover some things that I've done a little bit on some of our Super Saturdays. And then I'll just cover a few other things that I think are important. But I think there's a couple of phases that people go through in this business. And we get excited, we join the business, and we just start talking to people. And then, you know, we might hear a few no's. We might hear someone tell us, you know, somebody that we really care about, you know, that they don't think it's going to work. And then we start getting into that doubting phase, okay? We start doubting and doubting whether it's going to work. And once we get through that doubting phase, okay, that's the second phase. And then we go through a third phase, and that's the quitting phase. We start thinking about, should we quit, okay? And most people never, ever, ever, ever make it out of the quitting phase. So they just kind of dead in the water, and they start putting their dreams on a shelf, and they stop believing and dreaming, and then they quit. And I think what we all have to do is we got to get to that fourth stage. And the fourth stage is getting committed. That's when you get committed. But it's only after you started doubting whether this is going to work. It's only after you started debating whether you are going to quit. And then if you make it out of that quitting phase, you are in a phase where you can go and do some things that you can really change your life. And just remember, most people never make it out of that quitting phase. And throughout your career, you may regress back, okay? And you got to know and understand those phases as you're moving through them. It's just like, you know, day to day, you got to check your emotions, okay? It's the same thing. You got to check your emotions in this business. And the other thing I will say is, number one, things are never as good as they seem. And number two, they're never as bad as they seem. So you might have gotten 3 or 4 recruits this week, and you're excited and you're flying high. Well, don't let yourself get too high, okay? Well, you might have talked to 10 or 15 people this week and nobody joined. Don't let yourself get too low. You got to maintain those emotions, and that's what champions do. Champions monitor and maintain those emotions. They never get too high and too low, and you want to really operate like a champion. Now, the other thing I will say is this. I love to talk about personal financial success, because I think that when we hear that, we would get 20 or 30 different definitions depending on who we're talking to, okay? So if I talk to one person, they would think because I drive 2 Mercedes that I'm in personal financial success. Well, I think it's just 2 cars, okay? Now, another person might look at me living in the suburbs and say, well, he's financially successful. I don't think that's a gauge. It is a level of success, but it's definitely not financial success. And what we have done is we ruined ourselves by we look at people and we buy into what is called a facade. And then we have unrealistic expectations of what life is really, what's really happening in life. Okay, so let me give you an example here. Okay, so if I go, I'm gonna go ahead and share my screen real quick here. Okay, so I should be sharing my screen. Now, this is just a little article here. Okay, it talks about the true state of Americans' financial lives. Only 3 in 10 are financially healthy. Now think about that. We live in the wealthiest country in the history of the world. There's more money here than anywhere else in the world, but most people are struggling. Okay, if you do some more research, you'll find that now this was in 2018. Okay, and these numbers never really change. Okay, this is really what's been going on, and what you got to look at is for the last century in this country, most people have not gotten to financial success, and they've gone through lots of different things. They've gone through. They got different degrees. They've got different jobs, and the financial world is really your competition for your money. People tend to think that you go down here, you talk to a financial advisor, and they're going to help you. No, everybody's the objective is to get your money for cheap. Okay, so they might want you to go down to the bank and put some money in a CD, for example. It's a very low rate of return. They're going to get higher rates of returns, like 15, 20, 25% on that money. And then you get 1 or 2% that they promised you, but their returns are really infinite because it's not even their money. But you think that that's your ally. You sitting down with the person at the bank or the mortgage broker. See, if you go and talk to somebody about a mortgage, the company that created the mortgage knows more about the mortgage than you. So I want you to ask yourself this question. Do you think that they will create a plan that's better for you than themselves? I don't think so. The car dealership, same way. So the problem is we go sitting down with these people thinking they're our financial allies. No, they're your competition. Their job is to get in your pocket and get your money. Your job is to keep them out of your pocket. Now, I want to talk about a couple of things on this page here. Okay, so let's go here. It says, okay, it says, meanwhile, 17% of Americans are financially vulnerable, meaning they struggle with nearly all financial aspects in their lives. And 55% are financially coping, meaning that they struggle with some, but not all aspects of their financial lives. And the recent volatility in the Dow Jones, so let's just talk about the stock market there. Well, those are high percentages of people that are kind of on the borderline and just treading water. Now, you might be asking yourself, well, John, what does all this have to do with us? It has everything to do with us because we have a unique opportunity here because there's lots of different companies that we can join. We can join a nutrition company. We can join a travel company. There's a lot of companies in this industry, and I've seen a lot come and go. But I think you got to ask yourself, well, why do one versus the other? Because people try to recruit me into lots of different things because they know that I have built thousands of people. I train people for a living. I build networks for a living. So they want to have me on their team. And that makes sense. But at the same time, I always ask them, why should I join you or why should I join this company? And typically it's always something that's not much of any substance. Well, we got a good product. Well, I think a lot of companies got good products. You know, I tell people all the time, just because you like a product don't mean you need to sell the product. Okay. If you like the product, you should use the product. Okay. Now, I think you got to look at what is the biggest market that you can get involved in. Okay, so there's lots of different things we can join. But I think the personal financial success market is one of the biggest things out here because I don't see any competition. That's number one. I don't see anybody else that even has anything that's even close. And we've got a unique opportunity because we're first mover advantage. So we've got the ability to go out here and change millions of people's lives before other companies even really copy us. And there are some companies that have said that they copied what we've done, but not really. You know, that's just on the surface. But look at some other things here, okay? It says that these findings are from, okay, so some 44% of respondents said that their expenses exceeded their income in the past year. So that's what a deficit is, okay? So this country is in a deficit. So we have X amount of expenses, and then we have X amount of revenue. And since the revenue didn't meet the expenses, that's called a deficit. So as a country, we have a deficit, but people's homes also have a deficit. They have expenses that are too high, okay? Now, let me give you some examples. Most people would call $5,000 a month a great income, right? And the problem is, after you pay taxes, that's $1,500. Okay, that's lost because most people get all their income from a W-2. Secondly, if you get a decent place to stay in this country, even if you got a little apartment that you're renting, it's probably going to cost at least $1,000 on the low side. And then if you get a little nicer apartment, you're probably talking about $1,400, $1,500. Well, let's say it's $1,000. Well, that took us from 5,000. We paid taxes, so that gave us that took us down $1,500. So we down to 3,500. Then we took another $1,000 out of that for the roof over our head, and that's low. So we down to $2,500. Okay, let's eat a little bit. Okay, that's $400 to $500. We down to $2,000. Let's have a car note. That's $400 there. We're down to $1,600. Okay, let's pay some car insurance. That's about $200 a month. So we're down to $1,400. Okay, let's pay some utilities. Okay, let's say that's $300 there on a monthly basis. So we're down again. After we look up here, you look up and all the money is gone and you won't know where that money went. But you got a lot of great things going on. And I'm going to show you in an example how you can do everything that is considered right. You can pay all your bills on time, but still end up in what is called financial ruin. And see, when we start understanding that, you can start understanding what's going on with people in this country. And a lot of people say, well, John, if I just had more money, I'd be okay. That's not true. Most people make the same mistake with $100 that they make with $10,000. So more money just creates more of a bigger problem. Okay. Now, and this other thing says, it says 29% of Americans had 6 months or more of an emergency in savings. So that would mean 70% don't even have an emergency fund of any significance. And then it says, indeed, most Americans would not be able to pay an emergency expense of $1,000. And if you've ever watched my video, you've heard me say that, my presentation, that 70% of Americans don't have $1,000 in the bank. If they have a $1,000 emergency, they got a problem. Now, the system is built for people to fail. Now, I know that sounds very harsh, okay? So think about it. The first problem you have is taxes, okay? That is the first and largest expense in your life. But most people have no clue that that is something that they can control, okay? Now, if I lost $1,500 in that previous example, which I did, that would be my largest, that's bigger than my mortgage. Because a lot of people say, well, my biggest expense is my mortgage. Not so. It's your tax bill. Now, you lost that money to taxes. That sets you up for the second problem. It's very difficult to save money. So when you got to make a major purchase, you're going to end up financing it. So if you got to buy a car, you got to buy a home, you don't have cash in most cases, boom, you got to finance it. And if you don't have an emergency fund, like this article says, if you need 4 tires, okay, I went outside and there was a nail in my tire today, and I looked at that and I said, okay, I got to get over here to the tire place. But what if I didn't have any money and I went over to the tire place? They said, okay, John, you need 4 tires. Well, guess what? If I don't have the money, they got a solution for me. They're going to say, John, no problem. Just go ahead and fill out this credit application and we'll get you straight. Well, now they got a predetermined deal to start incurring more and more debt. So the lack of cash set aside causes us to spend more money. Okay, so the lack of money costs us more money. All right. Now, I'm going to switch gears here, and I'm going to open up this thing here. I call this the Income for Life document. Now, some of you have seen me talk a little bit about this, but I'm going to take it a little further than normal because I really want you to see what the problem is. And then I'm going to cover a couple other things. So it says, why does My Econ exist? So this is kind of what we've been talking about. If you've seen me on a Super Saturday, you've seen me kind of cover this page, but I'm going to go beyond this page and I'm going to show you something. Now, we got 2 things that we're trying to do. Number 1, we need income for today. So typically, we're only taught to trade time for money. So what we do is we say, okay, I'm going to go get me a good job or something somewhere as a whole in this country, and I'm going to work, and then I'm going to work X amount of hours. They're going to give me X amount of dollars. Now, the problem with this, that's called linear pay. And linear pay, see, I think what we have to understand is we cannot chase money. If you chase money, you will never have wealth. But if you chase wealth, you will always have money. So I have people all the time, they'll say things to me like, well, John, you can do this deal and you can make $500 or you can do $1,000 here. And I'm like, dude, I'm not chasing money. I don't do what is called linear systems. Okay, so an example of a linear system is a job. So if I go out and I work 1 hour, I get paid for 1 hour. If I work for 1 week, I get paid for 1 week. If I don't work, I don't get paid, right? That's called linear income. But I see people that go and try to do linear business deals. It's a one-time pay. Well, if it's a one-time pay, for example, like selling houses, well, I'm out of business till I sell another house. And the minute I stop selling homes is the minute I stop making money. The minute you stop going to work is the minute you stop making money. So realistically, you can't afford that system. But this is where 90+% of the people in this country get all their income. Now, the second half of this is, okay, one day, one of three things is going to happen to me. Either I'm going to get too old to work, I'm going to decide I don't want to work, or my job is going to fire me. And when this happens, my life don't become free. See, we have expenses that go on 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They never stop. We get a bill for them once a month. But why do we focus on income all over the world that takes 2 days off, 3 days off? It doesn't go 24 hours a day. So you got expenses that are consistent and ongoing, but your income is intermittent. You're bound for failure. You just putting a Band-Aid on, somebody sawed off your arm and you putting a Band-Aid on it thinking you're going to fix the problem. You just delaying something that's going to happen later on. So what we have to do is we got to focus on building leveraged income and residual income. Leveraged income solves all your problems and residual income solves all your problems. Why? Because it multiplies income. See, the only difference between a person that makes $50,000 a year and somebody that makes 50 million is leverage. And there's only two things that you can leverage in life as far as finance is concerned. You can leverage people and you can leverage money. Now you can see leverage systems, the whole world is based on leverage systems, okay? If you look at Walmart, they don't have one location, they got multiple locations. If you look at McDonald's, they don't have one location, they got multiple locations. Look at where you work. If you have a job, they don't have one employee, they got many employees. That multiplies their earning potential. It multiplies productivity. So this is why that you can start outpacing that thing called inflation. You got to focus on this. Now, when I had a job, I worked a job to pay my day-to-day bills when I was not very good at business, but I was still focusing on trying to get this going. So even if you're working today, this is not to down you or whatever, but this is to let you know that you got to understand, you got to add this piece to your puzzle, because if you don't, you will never, ever be able to stop working and you'll never have enough to do the things that you want to do. And the second thing here is income from income producing assets. Now, that's anything that we own that makes us money without us touching it. That could be a business, it could be a 401k, an investment account, whatever the case may be. Doesn't matter, real estate, anything that you own that makes you money without you touching it is an income producing asset. Now, in this country, we've been taught that our home is our greatest asset. It's not true. If you live in the home, see, an asset is in real simple forms. An asset puts money in your pocket and a liability takes money out, right? Well, when is the last time your home sent you a check? It doesn't. See, unless you rent it out to someone else and they pay for it, now you make money. But if you live in it, it's just an expense. You got taxes, you got utilities, you got upkeep. So all those things just cost money. And over time, it's never more over time that you made. Okay, so I want you to understand that. Now, you might ask yourself, well, how many income producing assets do we need? You need at least 10 times what you make in a year. So if you make $50,000 a year, you need at least 500,000. If you make $100,000 a year, you need $1 million. See, if you're ever going to stop working, I don't care if it's a year from now, 2 years from now, 2 days from now, you need at least 10 times what you make in a year, maybe as much as 20 times. Now, your My Econ business or any business that you build, especially if it has residual income and leverage, it is an income producing asset and it has a value. So if you make $5,000 a month in My Econ, which is 60 grand a year, that's equivalent to having $600,000 in an investment account. Because if you had $600,000 in your investment account and you got a 10% rate of return, that will be that same 60,000. So a My Econ business builds these numbers at the bottom quickly. Does everybody see that? Okay, that's very important because many people are way behind. They had no clue that they needed $1 million+ in assets to stop working. They thought if they had $200,000 or $300,000, they'd be okay. And therein lies the problem. Now, if you look up here up top, where it says the job, if you go out and buy a car today and this was you, they're going to base your car payment based on the $6,250, not the $4,700. They're going to approve you based on that number. If you buy a house, they're going to approve you based on that number. The problem is you don't have that number. You only have the $4,700. See, if you want to know if they plan a game on you, it's right there. They can't say that they didn't know you didn't have that money. You had to provide your check stub to them to prove your income. And they know what the net income is, but they made the payments based on your gross. So that wasn't nothing but a game. And because we didn't understand, we thought they was trying to help us. They're helping us. No, they're not helping us. They really are putting you in a situation where your family's wealth will be stolen. Okay, and I'll prove that to you shortly. But now I want to show you something. The financial world will allow you to have 45% debt to income. So what that means is 45% of your gross income they'll allow you to have in payments, things like car notes, credit cards, student loans, mortgages, stuff like that. So if I took 45% of the $6,250, they would allow me to have about $2,800 in payments on things that's out here. So the problem here is, and these are not really big things. A $1,200 mortgage is not really big. $500 car note, that all these are things that are in reasonable variances. Okay, but look what happened here. 25% of my income had already been gone to taxes, but another 45% went to what is called debt to income. So now I got 70% of my income that went to basically nothing. Absolutely nothing. But we still not done with this scenario. If I continue with this, we got some other recurring things that go on every single month that we can't pay off. Okay, so if I put these things up here, we got some utility payments, internet, cable, all that little stuff. I remember when my cable bill got to $150 a month, I was like, I only watched 3 or 4 channels. I haven't paid a cable bill in probably 14, 15 years. Now I do pay for internet, but I don't pay for cable, okay? Because I gotta have the internet to run business and all these little things that I do. And then I get all my television from streaming services like Netflix and Hulu, okay? Now, insurance, that's my car, okay? Food, I think everybody's food bill has probably gone up if you're at home a lot now. We're going to the grocery store a lot. And, I think I gained about 4 pounds, Ms. Quill. So I need to get this thing down. I need to get out here and do some running, okay? But now, auto gas, easy, $400 a month. Now, it might be a little lower now because gas prices have gone down. And then we've got a cell phone for 2 people, $120. Well, if I add my recurring expenses, now look at my percentages. 25% went to taxes, 45% went to debt to income, 26% went to recurring expenses. That's 96% of the money that's gone. But see, we look good though. We got a new car. We got what is called the American dream. We got a mortgage. We got 2 kids and a dog, right? We got all the little things in life that we feel we're supposed to have. We got our degree. We got them student loans. So we've done everything that society has told us we're supposed to do. But I'm going to show you financial destruction. Just take it a little further. There's some other things that's not even listed. What about health insurance? If you got what is called a good job, okay, you got some premiums that's coming out for medical. How much is that? You got childcare, okay? If you are in that age where you have young children and maybe you have to go to work, well, how much is daycare? I heard daycare is $200 to $250 a week. Now, where does that money come from? Okay, entertainment. A lot of people say, well, I don't do any entertainment. Yeah, you do. Mother's Day was just this weekend. Did you buy a card? Did you do some things like that? That's called entertainment. Super Bowl party, that's entertainment, okay? Memorial Day is coming up. Okay, you go out back, you barbecue, that's entertainment. So there's a cost there. And then we got personal items. So what is that? I'm sure the ladies on this call here are not going to go without their hair being done if they got the ability to do so, okay? They're going to get their nails done. Okay, I do things. So I got personal items and things that I do. Okay, so now let's look at this. 20% went to personal items. We need another $1,000 for that deal. So we're at 116% of our income. Now you might be saying, John, well, wait a minute. How in the world can somebody spend 116% of their income? Easy. They subsidize with credit card. Anytime they run low on cash, they go put a credit card. So they go out here. They get gas on the credit card. They get food on the credit card. They buy tires on the credit card. If a little emergency come up, they got to get the brakes done, put that on the credit card. So they're spending. You see people that'll look up, and 15 years down the road, they got $30,000 in credit card debt. They don't understand how they even got there. Easy. See, that's the setup. And look, we didn't deal with any of this stuff. We didn't put anything away for the day that we're not going to be able to work. We didn't do anything for charity. So if you're a person that believes in the Bible and giving tithes and stuff like that, we didn't do any of that. Okay? No emergency fund. And the lack of an emergency fund will cost you more money. Now, let's look at what we need to fix the problem. And see, this is what I want you to see. So we got the gross income here of $6,250. So if I take 10% and give it to God, if I take another 10% and give it to investing, if I take household debt, pay for it, that's the mortgages, the car notes, all that stuff. We pay for everything, and we pay our total taxes. We $2,500 in the hole. We done spent all of the $6,250 plus another $2,500 is what we need. So the average family in this country needs somewhere between $2,000 and $3,000 to fix their problem on a monthly basis, in addition to what they got. Now think about it. What's the number one plan people use to say, I'm gonna get some extra money? They go get a part-time job, right? Well, if they go get a part-time job, show me a part-time job that'll pay you $2,000 a month. It's non-existent. So working more can't fix this problem. Going to get another degree can't fix this problem. You need the My Econ income shifting membership. Now I know everybody on this webinar already has it, correct? But there's so many people you know that need this membership. See, this is what's going on in their lives. They don't talk about it, but this is what's going on. Now let me show you something else. So if we bring the My Econ income shifting membership into play, we're going to minimize taxes. Most of you on the phone, or everybody on the phone, should understand the first thing we do our 15-minute class on the W-4. We show a person how to correct that, fill that baby out properly. They stop overpaying, and we put the home-based business on there, right? When we do that, that picks them up $200, $300, $400, $500, $600. Now we minimize expenses. See, if we go and look at credit, okay, that allows a person, if they have better credit, to live the same lifestyle without sacrificing, that they can have all the same things, but they don't sacrifice lifestyle. So they can pay less for them. That's very important. If we said do a budget, people won't do that long term. They'll do a budget for about a month or two. But really, what does budgeting mean? That means, okay, I'm gonna stop doing this that I really like doing and do less of it. Well, money is very emotional. People spend money based on how they feel. And if you don't feel good about something, you won't continue to do it. So my point is, you don't feel good about the budget, you won't keep that very long. So that's why we focus on taxes and credit, because it allows you to cut expenses without cutting the things that you like doing, like your life. Okay, you got the same car, you got the same house, but you're paying less taxes. You're paying less for those other things because you got better credit. Okay, so a person will stay on that long term. See, when you start understanding why did My Econ set this business up this way, you're going to start learning what's going on with people and how you can go and explode your income here. Okay, so now we got $500 on the first step. Let's say $200 on the second step. We got $700. Well, we can take $200 of that and drop it on a debt elimination plan because we got software for that. And then we got asset accumulation, where we're going to take you somewhere and build an investment account, somewhere like T. Rowe Price, Fidelity, something like that. Now you got another $500 to $1,000 that you can go put somewhere, and you can start buying up America $50 at a time, $20 at a time, $1,000 at a time. And all this is at your fingertips, and it's for the taking. Now, I want to go one more place here. And let me get past this. I'm going to show you this. See, and this is where every single one of you are, okay? If you look at the left side, the dynamics of how a person pays taxes changes when they join business. See, yeah, we do have credit repair, but we're not a credit repair company, okay? And we don't want to be one-dimensional and think like that. We're a personal financial success company. And everything is about cash flow. See, if you make $100,000 a year and you spend $100,000 a year, you are living paycheck to paycheck. You are what I call broke at a higher level. You just broke and you look good at doing it. Okay? Now, but if you make $100,000 a year, for example, and for many years, I would make big incomes and I would pay no taxes. Out of the last 15 years since I've been in my econ, 13 years I paid zero taxes. Zero. I want you to think about that. I didn't do anything, nefarious or anything like that. And I had a record year in income last year. And I'm on pace to do it again this year. So you got to ask yourself, well, how do those things happen? It's all the dynamics of having a business. But you can clearly see it here. So look at the left side. This is the average person. They got a regular job and they have a part-time job. And what they do is, okay, on the W-2, that's the first job, the regular job, they make $70,000 a year. But they say, I need some more money. And their first idea is to go get a part-time job. So that part-time job offers them $5,000 a year. So the income went up to $75,000, but it didn't really help them very much because they had to pay taxes on that money. Now let's go with the standard deduction. This is a married couple here. So the married couple would get something like $24,800 in a standard deduction. So this will be minus out from the $75,000. So the taxable income is going to be $50,200. So this is how the government figures out how much you're supposed to pay. So you have a taxable income. So whatever your standard deduction is, that's minus from your gross, whatever's left is your taxable income. Now, on this example, this family or this person would owe $6,978. They had the W-4 filled out incorrectly from the get-go. So throughout the year, $9,000 went over to the IRS. Well, that's a problem because now not only did you lose the $6,978, you had overpaid by $2,022. And there's so many people that are of this misnomer because they're not educated on finances. They say, well, I got a refund. I did good on taxes. The bigger the refund, the more excited they get. Well, the bigger the refund, the worse position you are because that's your money that you needed to do things. So you would get a refund when you file these taxes. But look, just change the dynamics here. So I need to move this thing here so I can really see. Hold on one second. Okay. All right, let me move this out of the way. All right, so I'm gonna go back to this page. Okay, so let's look at the right side. So we still got the same job. We didn't do anything different. And see, this is really where you want to lock in on that you need the My Econ business. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about this. So you got $70,000 on your job. Now, whether you make more or less, that's not the issue. The mechanics are still gonna work the same way. But instead of a person going out and getting a part-time job, you say, look, I'm going to get me a part-time business. So now you got a 1099. As a 1099, it changes the dynamics of how you pay taxes. See, on the left side of this equation, you work and you make money, then you pay taxes. So taxes come out of your check first, and then you pay your expenses. But over in business on the right side, here's what happens. You work and you make money, but then you pay expenses. And if you don't spend up everything, you pay taxes on what's left. Those are two entirely different worlds. And this country was built for the business owner, not the employee. The employee is a necessary evil. That's just something they got to have to help them build a business. But if they can figure out a way to replace you, they're going to do it. So now we got the same. So the top two, the totals are the same. It's going to be $75,000 income. But you got your same standard deduction. That's the $24,008 for married, filing joint. But now in a business, you can write off things. See, this is why we have the networking component. See, My Econ is not a network marketing company. We're a financial success company, but we use network marketing to disseminate this information efficiently. So we want people to be able to go out here and get this information. And most people don't have a savvy business idea. If they did, they would already have one, right? So we said, okay, let's give them a website that has products and services on it, Now they don't got to figure out what they're going to sell. They don't got to figure out how much stuff is going to cost. It's just like if you bought a McDonald's. Same way. You don't got to figure out what you're going to sell, figure out what it's going to cost. You just buy the system and make money, right? Well, when you buy the My Econ business platform, now you got something called a Schedule C. So those are business expenses like driving your car, interest on your car payment, cell phone bill, internet bill, meals if you're having a business during the meal. Anything, any business could be considered business travel, depending on a lot of things, but it's real simple. And then you got the paying for your children. Most people have two children, and you can pay your children up to $12,000 a year, and they will pay no federal taxes on it because the federal standard deduction for a single person is $12,000. So the first $12,000 anyone makes is federally tax exempt. So you should be paying your kids. And we focus on teaching you those things. So when you look at those things, you are already going to take care of your kid. You are going to drive your car. You are going to go on those vacations. You are going to pay your cell phone bill and internet bill. And there are now things that are formerly on the left side that could not be written off. But now on the right side, there are things called expenses. So what the IRS is going to allow you to do, this is our government at their best. They're going to allow you to say that you lost money, but you didn't lose any money. These were all things you were going to pay for, whether you started a business with My Econ or not. Now, in business, on that 1099, you'd have that $5,000 as a positive, and you'd have the $20,000 as a negative. So you take that 20,000 from the 5, you would have a negative 15,000. So now, since that Schedule C is now attached to your 1040 with the income from the job, look what happened. The taxable income went down. See? So that taxable income went down to $30,000. And actually we had 25,000 in expenses, and it took us down to 20 with the 5,000. And then it took our taxable income down to 30. That's a $20,000 swing. Same income. But now the income went up by 5,000, but the taxes went down by 3,000 almost. Y'all see that? That's huge. That's more than 3,000. That's huge. So the refund is now $5,700 as opposed to $2,022. That's over $3,000. Taxes went down, but the income went up. That's called a cash flow increase. That's why we always talk about cash flow. See, it's not just about how many commission checks did you get at My Econ. Everything is measured in cash flow. You made $5,000, that was cash flow. But also in this example, you saved over $3,000 on taxes. That's more cash flow. A penny saved is a penny earned. So you had money back into your pocket. And the dynamics of that changes everything. Because now we could go here. We'll go to this page here. This is just the debt elimination page. This is just a little software that puts the debt elimination together, right? So you put all your debts in there, and then this thing will tell you which one to pay off first. So in this example that I had, we saved about $900 on taxes. So now we took that $900, okay, on a monthly basis through income shipping and all that, and we dropped it here. So everything started getting paid off, right? The house was paid off. Actually, I can't see the months here because the pictures are in the way, but y'all can see this. We went through, several months here, and we paid off all of our debt with a system. See, everybody in America needs this system. And see, when you get that understanding, your conviction level is going to go up. You're going to talk differently to people. When people start talking about, oh, well, I don't know about this. See, sometimes you don't even need to do a regular presentation. Sometimes you might just want to show them, like what I just showed you, just show them the A and B and just ask them, how are you going to get this done? And when they don't have an answer, you say, look, well, I got an answer for this. And see, sometimes people have to answer their own questions. And then you become a better and better recruiter. You got to paint the picture so the person can answer the questions themselves when they see it. Because sometimes when you say it, they don't hear it. But when they say it themselves, they recruit themselves. Okay? Now, the other thing I would like to just say tonight is we are definitely a high-tech company, okay? And so that means we use a lot of technology on building. We use capture pages, automated funnel systems. We like what we're doing right now. We're doing what is called a Zoom webinar here. That's utilizing technology. Okay, we got apps. So we use all kind of technologies to build this business. We use pre-recorded videos, but there's one thing that all those cannot replace. We got to build relationships. Okay. Even before, I recruited thousands of people into My Econ before I did anything on Facebook marketing. Before I knew anything about Facebook, Instagram, all this. Now I had a Facebook profile, but I didn't know anything about marketing. I just get on there and, talk a little noise and crack some jokes and listen to other people's problems, right? And see what they posted out here. So I did that for years. And even before that, I had saw the guys. See, you got to understand the leadership that we have here. You got two guys, and what I mean is Ivy and Alvin, that in the last 30 years in this industry, they have recruited and trained about 1 million people. That's a lot of people. I've seen them put hundreds of thousands of people verifiably in companies 3 or 4 times. And that don't come by accident. Now, the first time you could have been lucky, but when you start doing it more than once, you got a little knowledge there, okay? And you got people that are willing to work with you and teach and train you. See, when I first started working with Alvin, I didn't know any. I had less than 30 or 40 people on my team. Not a lot of people at all. That's not anything significant. But if Alvin took a cash mentality on me, then he wouldn't have invested into me like he did. He invested time. He invested money. Sometimes he would come to Michigan and do a live meeting with me. That might cost him $800 to $1,000 when you add rental cars and rooms and dinners and all this stuff that you do. Okay, it might be $800 to $1,000 for a 4 or 5 day period. Well, me with 40 people on my team, he didn't make his money back right away, but he saw potential in me. Even when I didn't have much of anything, he still would sit with me and teach me things. And I think that we have to also do those things freely and give to our teams freely. And that'll always come back. You don't always know when it's going to come back, but I think you want to bless others. We got to bless people, okay? And so he blessed me, spent time with me. And I would say in the early days, he would come here maybe every 3 or 4 months and visit and spend time working with us. And he might have spent, let's say, $7,000 to $10,000 a year doing that kind of stuff, okay? Now, you don't have to do it on this magnitude, but I want you to see something. Well, if he never came back to Michigan, he would still make tens of thousands of dollars on me if he never saw me again, because he invested in me in the early days. So I think what we got to do is we got to invest in our business. We got to invest in our people. We might have to do a little event when this whole thing goes away. I know the Six Figures team and stuff, they've done some events and stuff like that. You see, we were going to have a conference. That's a live event. Okay. Those are very important parts to the nucleus of this business. Okay. We got to see each other from time to time. You got to pick up the phone and call people on your team. Don't just send them a text. Don't just send them a messenger message. I heard one of the online marketers say that they don't talk to anybody. Well, you can't keep nobody if you do that. You got to talk and build relationships. You can't talk to everybody, but you got to talk and start building relationships. See, nobody could ever take me away from Alvin Curry, okay? Nobody could ever recruit me from him because we got a 20-year relationship. Even if I was thinking about going to do something else, I would call him and say, dude, I'm thinking about doing this, and here's why I'm thinking about this, and what do you think about it? We would hash it out as business partners because we got that relationship. Now, you ain't going to have that with everybody, but you got to build relationships. See, the only thing that keeps your team is not the business that you join. The team is the relationships you build with the people you got. So My Econ is not your business. It's your company, the people you have, the relationship you got with them. And that will hold this together. And as long as you treat them right, love them, and always be a person of your word, you're going to build something great. And you never quit. Never, ever, ever, ever quit. There were times I wanted to quit in this business and thought about it. And I said, no, because I was broke. I didn't have two nickels to rub together, so to speak. And I needed some money. Everybody in my family laughed at me. Nobody joined me. I had a relationship fall apart, a fiance leave me. I had a car blow up for the most part, that I didn't have any transportation. The engine blew up in the car. All these things happen while trying to build a business. See, all these things are going to happen in your life. You're going to have people die. My mother died in 2001. Okay. My grandmother died in 2003. My favorite aunt died in 2005. My father died of cancer in my arms in 2009. So inside a decade, I had lost just about everybody that was very important to me. I had all kind of reasons to quit. I had all kind of reasons to say, well, I need to take a break. But you got to keep moving. You might slow down a little bit, but you got to keep moving. You got to always keep your eye focused. See, sometimes people look at me and say, well, John, you ain't got no problem. Yeah, I got all kind of problems. I got all kind of things. I got all the problems y'all got. I got kids that don't act right. I got all kind of things, right? But we still have to deal with those things. And you can't let life kick your butt. Because life's job is to whoop on you. Your job is to whoop life. Life don't tell you what to do. You tell it what to do. And you got to be relentless. So what I want you to take away from this conversation is I want you to be relentless in growing, personal development, and being committed to building your business. And if it's not My Econ, okay, but be committed. Be committed. Don't let anybody deter you, because either they crazy or you crazy. Either they crazy or you crazy. And I know for a fact that it makes more sense to lower my taxes than to raise them. If the government will allow me to pay less, I'm going to do that. If it makes sense to have better credit so I can have lower car insurance rates, lower credit card payments, and all this stuff, I'm going to do it. So you got to take the name My Econ off of it. Does it make sense to lower your taxes? Does it make sense to have better credit, excellent credit? Does it make sense to be debt-free? See, the borrower is servant to the lender. So why does the Bible say debt is a curse? A lot of people say, well, I don't understand. Why does it say that? Because you're robbed of all future earnings of that money. See, if a dollar loses your hand, you lost control of it. It's nothing you can do about it. And there's something in the financial world called the rule of 72. And the rule of 72 is a formula in the financial world that tells you if you take whatever interest rate you're getting on your money and you divide 72 by that rate, that tells you how fast $1 would turn to $2. Okay? So let's say I got a 12% rate of return. If I take 12 and divide that by 72, I put it on here so y'all can see it. Okay? So I would take 72 divided by 12. Okay? I would come up with 6. So that would mean every 6 years, $1 turns to $2. Okay? So if I paid $1,000 in interest for my car payment, mortgage payment, everything this month, look what happened. In 6 years, that turned to $2,000 for the financial service company. In 12 years, it's $4,000. In 18 years, it's $8,000. In 24 years, it's $16,000. And in 30 years of my life working, that month, I gave away $30,000. See, sometimes people say, well, no, it ain't nothing but a payment. No. See, if you don't understand money, and you don't have a respect for money, it'll leave you. And look, if you pay that, because think about it, if you have $1,000 mortgage payment, $700 of that is interest that month. If you got a $4 car payment, $250 of that is interest. You got a $100 credit card payment, $75 of that is interest. You lost $1,000 interest that month. You do that every month. You gave away $30,000 every month for a year. It just don't show up in your bank account. It goes into their bank account. So you gave away millions of dollars. Your babies and your grandbabies and your great-grandbabies got robbed. And see, when you start understanding that, you start getting mad. You start getting relentless. You start saying, ain't nobody gonna stop me, and ain't nobody going to take my family's wealth. And myEcon is the best tool that you can use to combat that situation. So I hope that tonight, I've talked for a long time. I hope that you got something out of this, okay? We could continue with a whole bunch of other stuff, but I know people want to get on with their lives, and I'm going to relinquish the call back over to you. And I'll also, I'll answer any questions if somebody got a question for me.
Wow, that was on fire. On fire. First of all, I want to say thank you for your time. Mm-hmm. We actually appreciate it. We value your time. I know you're always busy. So personally, I'm super excited about this. And we're going to take your word, because if you have more to say, I can take you another day in June again. So for sure.
Yeah, we'll set up something. That's no problem.
Woo! Guys, anybody has a question? This is the time to ask, comment, suggest, say whatever you want to say. I know you guys got to say something. Go, Kenny. I knew it. Go, Kenny. Whoa. Wait, Kenny.
Looks like you're muted.
Oh, I unmuted it and she muted me. What women do, man. Anyways, I just want to say the same thing she did. Thank you for your time, man. Putting that tax, bringing that tax information in, it really puts it in perspective. So appreciate that.
Okay, great. Appreciate it.
Flor, you want to say something? You okay? OJ.
Yeah, man, thank you so much. The message was clear. 3 words pop out in my mind. They just come out, which is community, relationships, and consistency, man. Thank you so much for this message. I do have, it's a simple question. I have two of them actually. What drives you every day, and what's the first thing you've been doing every day when you wake up?
Wow. Okay. Well, what drives me every day, number one, is I never forget, number one, what's important to me. And what was important was I wanted to deliver my family. Because if I look at my family, and I've kind of told this story once or twice before, but some of you probably haven't heard it. If I look at my father worked for 30 years, did what he was supposed to do. And then his father before him worked for 30 years plus, did what he was supposed to do. And then my great-grandfather did the same thing. Well, that's 90 plus years of people working. But nobody in my family had $1 million. So you got to ask yourself this question. How does a family work for almost a century and nobody has $1 million? Nobody has $100,000. I got very mad about that. I said, we have been, we did something wrong. We've been taken advantage, something's not right. So what I did, if I don't do it, the person that comes behind me in my family may not do it either. So I wanted to deliver my family, and that's why I do this business every day. See, even today that I've recruited thousands of people, I just put a personal person in this morning. And when I get off this call, I'm gonna get ready to go try to recruit another one. Because you can never have too many coals on the fire. And I love to help people change their lives. So that's a passion for me. So right now, while I don't have any quote unquote financial issues, well, I want to help 10,000 people, or not 10,000, but 1,000 people become millionaires. I'm nowhere close to that. So I at least got another 10 to 15 years of working at that. Because now I could say I impacted so many people in my life. What did I leave on this earth? What is my legacy going to be? So I want to win. I want to win at all costs. I want to win in life, but more importantly, I want to help other people win. So that's what drives me. Number two, you say, what's the first thing I do? First thing I do is I get up and I say good morning to my wife. That's what I do. And I take a little time to reflect and just kind of think about what I want to do, what I'm doing for the day. Think about what I do have. And I think we can never forget what we're grateful for and what we've been delivered from. Because every single one of us has a story, and we have something that this business has done for us, or even just in life that we're grateful for. Like, okay, I get up in the morning, I'm grateful that I have not gotten sick from the virus. Okay, I think that is important, so, and we have to look at things on a positive note. There's so many negative things that are going on in this world. And I think we got to make it a point to be positive. And really, that's one of the most difficult things to do. We're surrounded by negativity and negative people, negative pictures and visions and things like that. So we have to constantly check our thoughts. I want you to think about it tomorrow. Try to think about every time something negative comes to your mind, I want you to try to make a mental note of it. You'll find out you think about something negative every 2 or 3 minutes. And see, we got to reprogram our thought process. So you got to start with something positive, in the day. So I would think that's one thing I would say.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you so much. Such a clear, clever, smart message, and we thank you. We thank you for tonight, and hopefully we can have you again.
For sure.
Okay. All right, great. I'm glad I could help. I am a team player, and I'm always trying to figure out how do we take our company to the next level. And I say our company because we're all in this together. And when we're online and talking, and we're saying or using the word My Econ, everyone's business is on the line, and we want it to be in the best light possible. So I'm always trying to train and be the best leader I can. And I think everybody on the phone that showed up on this thing tonight, I think you can consider yourself a leader because you showed up. Now, there's all levels of leadership, and we can all get better and just continue to grow.
Amen.
I want to follow and emulate, guys. We thank you so much for being here tonight. Please follow John. All right. Please follow him. All right. Well, thank you so much. You have a wonderful night. And remember, let's reprogram ourselves to be better.
Woohoo! Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, guys.
All right. You guys have a good night.
Thank you. Have a good night.
Bye, everyone.
Bye-bye.